The history dates back to the year 1886, when an American pharmacist named John came up with something that he never intended. And surprisingly, it became one of the most famous brands in the world. Unfortunately, even after gaining a huge reputation, he died of poverty. Do you know the reason behind this? It was his great addiction to morphine. He also could not enjoy his success as he was struck with stomach cancer 2 years after his formula got famous. Although he led quite a sad life, within this he managed to come up with one of the most refreshing drinks. That is, Coca-Cola. We're certain that there is no one who has not heard of Coca-Cola. 90% of the population is most probably a fan of this. Be it a function or the arrival of guests, Coca-Cola has always been a part of everything. It's not just a drink, but the emotion of millions of people. It ruled the global market during the late 20th century. But we would like to ask you one question. Do you know how all this started? Do you know that it was never meant to be formed? You all have seen Succes, but today, let us tell you about its history. So have patience and sit with us till the end of this video to know some amazing facts that you may have never thought of. John S. Pemberton was born to his parents, James Pemberton and Martha Gant, on the 8th of July, 1831, in the city of Knoxville, situated in Georgia. After finishing school, he got into the Reformed Medical College of Georgia. In the year 1850, he graduated with his medical degree at the age of only 19. But his favorite subject was not biology. Can you guess what it was? Yes, you are correct. It was none other than chemistry. After graduating, he practiced medicine and surgery for a few days, and then opened a drugstore in Columbus. Apart from being a medical practitioner, he also served as a soldier. During the Battle of Columbus in the year 1865, he sustained a very serious wound in his chest. As everyone would know, a wound of such intensity comes along with huge pain, and this made John addicted to morphine to help him ease his pain. A year later, he realized that his addiction was worsening day by day, and he set out in search of a morphine-free drug that worked as a painkiller. The first compound he came up with was known as Dr. Tuggle's compound syrup of globe flower, which was unfortunately rejected because of its active toxic ingredient, buttonbush. Next he started his work with coca and coca wines, which finally led to a recipe called Pemberton's French wine. Based on Phil Moody's reports, Pemberton's famous soda was made in Georgia, and so carried to Atlanta. Now that was a time when people were severely into drug addiction, and Pemberton's medicine was advertised as particularly beneficial for women. After a few months when the counties enacted temperance legislation, Pemberton was put under great pressure to create a non-alcoholic alternative. In an attempt to create such a thing, he mixed the base syrup with carbonated water, and that too by accident. After this, John thought that it shouldn't be sold as medicine, but rather sold as a fountain drink. The drink was named Coca-Cola by Frank Mason Robinson, after the two main ingredients. He is also credited with the logo of the brand. It was first sold at a pharmacy for only 5 cents on the 8th of May, 1886. Back then it was not sold in bottles. It was sold at 5 cents per glass. At that time, superstitions also helped Pemberton to sell his drink. Apparently, people in the States believed that carbonated drinks improved their health, and Pemberton took this as an opportunity, telling people that his drink was a solution for many health problems that included indigestion, nerve disorders, morphine addiction, and much more. But most importantly, he said that it could cure impotence, and hence the drink became all the more famous. Unfortunately, Pemberton could not enjoy his success. As soon as the brand ruled the market, he fell sick and went bankrupt. He lost his mind and could not make out what he should do to get out of this mess. This made him more desperate, and he began selling rights to his formula to his business partners situated in Atlanta. Finally, in the year 1889, the Coca-Cola formula was bought by an American businessman named Asa Griggs Candler. 3 years later, Griggs founded the company officially in Atlanta. Asa proved to be a good leader, as under his supervision the business expanded tenfold, as a result of which, after 3 years, Coca-Cola was sold in every shop in the Union. Its first ad said Coca-Cola, delicious, refreshing, exhilarating, invigorating. After a few years, the company said that it had 60% of the market share. By the end of that decade, Coca-Cola had incurred losses as well, due to the arrival of their new competitor, Pepsi. Now let's talk about some business strategies that the company undertook to spread its arms to every part of the world. 1886 to the 1940s, Coke for a nickel. The initial leaders of the company had the idea that their product should be cheap and affordable, so that every section of society can avail themselves of it. And this was the only reason why the company kept the price of Coke to 5 cents, or 1 nickel, for nearly 70 years. Even after being affected by the impacts of the 2 World Wars and the Great Depression, the company focused on being affordable to every section of society. This consistency in price contributed to the increasing number of customers for the product. Although it was a very well-known product, it was not familiar outside the southeastern United States. Now this problem needs to be solved, right? So Mr. Candler, who bought the secret recipe for Coca-Cola, began distributing free Coca-Cola samples for everyone. Isn't that a great idea? Between the years 1894 and 1913, the company had distributed so many free samples that 1 out of every 9 Americans had tried Coca-Cola. In the late 1800s, the Coke company saw huge ups and downs in its business, and that is why Candler placed more emphasis on the distribution of products. The year 1899 saw Mr. Candler selling the bottling rights to 3 businessmen for the amount of a mere $1, which formed what today is famous as the Coca-Cola system. The path to success was not easy for Coca-Cola. Soon after its launch, it had to face a vast number of lookalikes in the market that tried to copy its success. To resolve this problem, Coca-Cola had to come up with something. There, it challenged all the glass companies to make such a unique design that it could be recognized just by touching it in the dark, or when broken on the ground. Initially, inspired by the shape of the cocoa pod, the Root Glass Company came up with a bottle that is famous as the contour bottle today. As of today, the bottle has been present for 100 years. The then Coke president Robert Woodruff realized that every soldier should have a Coke readily at hand for just 5 cents, irrespective of their place. For this purpose, a special team was assigned, which would supervise and monitor the operations of bottling units that would give away Coke to the U.S. troops abroad. This step was taken by Woodruff during this intense time, and aided in the establishment of Coke as a global corporation. This act of generosity also created a sense of loyalty and respect among the troops and their families. During the 1970s, Coca-Cola came up with a new drink that would boost sales and satisfy the appetite. 1982 saw the launching of their new product, Diet Coke. People thought that the introduction of a new product would affect the sales of the company. Well, they were correct, but not in a negative way. It did affect sales by boosting them up. And within a year, the drink stood out as the nation's top sugar-free drink. The launching of Diet Coke was a great achievement for the company, as it gave them the courage to try out and introduce other new products in the market. 1985, New Coke. This was the first time in the history of Coca-Cola that the company decided to change its 99-year-old formula. But later on, it was seen that this decision did not prove itself to be very effective, as consumers did not like it much. Announcing the return of the original Coke formula at a press conference, Don Keough, then President and Chief Operating Officer, stated, "The passion for original Coke was something that caught the company by surprise." The company emerged as the leading soft drink producer after the restoration of the initial formula. With this, we have come to the end of today's video. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to press the bell icon for more related content.
Rich bio. It all starts from zero.